what up, 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 though? Hey, what's good, people? Payday Boxing, baby, back again. Y'all quit playing with me, man. Y'all quit playing with me and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, or hit the dislike button. Either or is cool with me. I don't mind if y'all hate on the video. That's cool too, man. Let's get into this, man. I just want to briefly touch on Spence and Manny Pacquiao. You know, we got a big fight coming up in just a couple weeks. We're within 2 weeks from the fight, so I feel like now it's time to go ahead and get some videos put out on this here, and let's get the ball rolling on this thing, because I know if you guys are like me, I am very excited for this fight. You know, it's really like the first big like fight of the year. Like, it's, you know, it might be the biggest fight of the year. You know, you got the 8 division champion, the legend, the icon, you know, the first ballot Hall of Famer, Manny Pacquiao, coming in, taking on the unified welterweight champion of the world, Spence Jr. And for all intents and purposes, I think it'll be Manny Pacquiao's retirement party, you know, on that day. So let's celebrate Manny Pacquiao and the greatness that he has brought to the sport of boxing while we can, while he's still in the sport, because after August the 21st, I don't think he's going to be in the sport any longer. Before I get into what I think is going to happen in the fight, and before I start to talk about the fight itself, I do want to first acknowledge Manny Pacquiao has been nothing but a legendary, excellent ambassador for the sport of boxing. Here you have a guy who literally took himself from nothing to something, worked his way up, and again, he started off at one of those little booger weights. I don't even know what weight class it was that he started at, and the guy turned himself into what he is today. And not only that, just the man is just an icon for his people. The rumor has it that Manny Pacquiao may go ahead and put his name in the hat to run for president in the next upcoming presidential election in the Philippines, which of course you can do nothing but tip your hat to something like that. You know, that's really huge. That's really major to be up for that type of consideration. It's just a huge honor. If you guys don't know, the things that Manny Pacquiao does outside of the ring for his people is truly legendary. This guy feeds millions of people every year. He takes his purse and he literally feeds millions of people every year. He's bought homes for thousands upon thousands of people in the Philippines. His charitable work is really unmatched. I mean, this guy literally puts his country on his shoulders and has taken it upon himself to be that beacon of hope for his people. So not only that, I mean, the hope that he gives to his people, and then also what he does for the sport of boxing. Manny Pacquiao's at an age where he could be, you know, he could take the Mayweather route. He could be fighting, you know, these Logan Pauls and these Jake Pauls, and he could be fighting YouTubers. He could be fighting MMA fighters. He could be fighting celebrities in these celebrity boxing matches. He could be putting on these little showcase bouts, flying to Japan and beating up these Takashi, Nagasaki, whoever, Tenshin, whatever the guy was that Floyd fought. He could be beating up these type of guys right now and still making millions of dollars. I mean, he's Manny Pacquiao. This man is going to be a boxing draw anytime he decides to put those gloves on. But yet and still, at the age of, what is he, 43 or 44 years old, he chooses to take on the best. He still chooses to fight the best competition that's out there. So for that, I want to pay homage, nothing but the utmost respect to Manny Pacquiao, because he carries himself like a true legend in and outside of the ring. And that is to be admired and respected, truly. So Manny Pacquiao, you know, if you catch wind, man, just know that I salute you for the man that you are, and the fighter that you are, and everything that you brought to the sport of boxing and to the world in general, you know, to the world as a whole, you know, because his philanthropy is really unmatched in the sport of boxing. Now, with that being said, talking about the fight here, I do think this will be Manny Pacquiao's retirement party. Partially because of what I mentioned before in regards to him, you know, being up for consideration and running for president. The president can't be fighting. I think part of it's that, and the other part of it, of course, is Spence Jr. Here we have a young welterweight champion in his prime, hungry, with a lot to prove, you know, especially after the car accident. You know, he wants this moment to take on a legend in the sport, and to put his stamp on the game, you know, to really take Manny Pacquiao's spot. You know what they say, you know, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. And Manny Pacquiao is the man right now in boxing. You know, he's a legend in the game. You know, so anybody who can beat Manny Pacquiao, you instantly improve your stock dramatically you know, especially in the eyes of the casual fan. You know, the casual fan, they don't know too many boxers in today's day and age, but they do know who Manny Pacquiao is. So anybody who can beat Manny Pacquiao, their star is just going to ascend that much further. And so with that being said, I do think this will be Manny Pacquiao's retirement party, unfortunately, on August the 21st, because he is running into a buzzsaw in Errol Spence Jr. You guys just have to remember, just take a look at the matchup first and foremost. I mean, so you have two southpaws going up against each other first and foremost. So you got southpaw on southpaw. And the thing that makes Manny Pacquiao so effective in his fights is that he is a southpaw, usually fighting against orthodox fighters. So the angles and that he approaches the fight, and the angles of movement that he uses, you know, the speed that he has, he's able to get in and out of those blind spots that exist when you're talking about southpaw against orthodox. Why I think that's a problem now is because those angles aren't necessarily going to work against Errol Spence Jr. because he's a southpaw himself. He's not going to be able to disappear into those blind spots like that because Errol Spence is going to be there. Also, you guys have to remember Errol Spence's skill set. They think this guy, from what I've heard from Manny Pacquiao's camp, Freddie Roach is talking like they're going to do what they did to Margarito to Errol Spence Jr. But I don't think they realize that Errol Spence Jr. has footwork. Errol Spence Jr., he has incredibly subtle footwork. He does not waste movement. And he's so efficient with his footwork that it almost doesn't look like he uses any footwork because he takes a little half step this way, a little half step that way, and he's always in position to attack. Errol Spence Jr., in my opinion, has one of the craziest skill sets in boxing. And again, I think people kind of overlook it because it doesn't necessarily look spectacular the way that he does it. But let's just analyze this. So Errol Spence Jr., he's a pressure fighter who can box, who has a high output, and he can hit. So he can cut off the ring, and like I said, he doesn't waste energy, he doesn't waste movement with his footwork. He's got an incredible jab, one of the best jabs in boxing. You know, he's very, very subtly, Errol Spence has one of the best jabs in boxing. He literally boxed Danny Garcia's head off with that jab. And again, this is a jab that he's using against an orthodox fighter. So when you put him up against another southpaw fighter, that just makes his jab just that much more effective. And then on top of all of that, we got to say that this man is probably the best body puncher in boxing today. Errol Spence's body assault is relentless. The way this man attacks the body, he really breaks down his opponents. The guys he doesn't break down and stops, he puts those guys into survival mode, and other guys he's going to break them down and completely just stop them altogether. We saw that with Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia went into survival mode. Danny Garcia went into survival mode. Sean Porter was probably one of the only opponents that he had that didn't go into survival mode. Sean Porter actually went in there and he fought and fought and fought and fought and fought. Sean Porter's a different type cat though. So what I foresee in this particular matchup, I foresee the first few rounds being very close. I foresee Manny Pacquiao using his speed to his advantage, and doing his best to throw Errol Spence off balance, you know, with his speed. But eventually, I do think that Errol Spence is going to start timing Manny Pacquiao. I do believe that once he starts to time Manny Pacquiao, that he will eventually cut off the ring. He will trap Manny Pacquiao. I do believe that he will eventually release an assault on Manny Pacquiao's body. And I do believe that there's a very good chance that Manny Pacquiao's team may be waving the white flag at the end of this bout. I'm not guaranteeing a stoppage victory at all because Manny Pacquiao is a warrior. And as his last stand, they may very well let him go out on his shield. So long as Errol Spence doesn't knock him out cold, which honestly I don't think he'll do. I don't think he'll knock Manny Pacquiao out cold. But I do think he's going to put that relentless body attack, and then eventually that pressure is just going to catch up, you know. So that's kind of my take. That's my early take on the fight. You know, as we get closer to the fight, I may change what I may think about the fight, but that's kind of how I see it playing out right now. I see Errol Spence and his diverse skill set, and just the fact that it's southpaw and southpaw, I feel like that's going to take away a lot of Manny Pacquiao's advantages, and I think that's going to set up Manny Pacquiao for a lot of Errol Spence's strength as far as putting him closer to the jab, and as far as Errol Spence being able to cut off the ring a little bit easier and being in a closer range with Manny Pacquiao, which means that body attack is just going to be so much more of a live threat throughout the fight. So, like I said, I want to tip my hat again to Manny Pacquiao, the legend in boxing. I want to salute him, and I want to celebrate him while we can, because again, I do think this is going to be his retirement party coming up on August 21st. So that's my take on things. This is Payday Boxing. Let me know what you think about the Pacquiao and Errol Spence fight. Do you see it playing out the same way, or do you possibly see it playing out another way? Let me know your comments in the comment section below. This is Payday Boxing. Salute to everybody who took the time to watch the video, and I'm out, y'all. Peace.